So good morning. We got to get started. It's late. So, yeah. So find a nice seat and we'll settle into our breath for a moment. So we've been talking about the yamas and we're up to the fourth yama, which is called Bramacharya, and it means moderation. and, and and mostly I like to, we all have habits, if you will. I mean, most of us don't consider ourselves addicts, but we, but we kind of are in certain things. We have these habits that are maybe good for us. There's habits that are good, like perhaps yoga, and there's habits that aren't so good. And it's just really about noticing what's a good habit, what's not a not so good habit, is the way I like to look at Bramacharya. So let's close our eyes. Tune into your breath. And how you know if you're addicted to something is whether your life revolves around that and you have lots of thoughts about something. And it takes a lot of energy. Whether it's food, alcohol, but it takes a lot of energy to encourage to break some of those habits as well. But each time we overcome these impulses of excess, we become stronger, healthier, wiser. So I like to think of one of the main goals of yoga is to create and maintain balance. And the simplest method for achieving balance is by practicing Bramacharya, creating moderation in all of our activities. Moderation is a way of conserving our energy, which can then be applied for higher spiritual purposes. Please bring hands to heart center. Again, the yamas are all about awareness. So awareness of our habits, whether they're good habits or maybe habits that could be let go of. We're able to do this, we're probably going to notice all the beauty and grace and strength within us, within others. And please lower your hands, open your eyes, and just come off your blankets if you're seated on a blanket. Bring your feet out in front of you, flat, and just support yourself behind. Yeah, and then just do a few windshield wipers here. We're doing hip openers today. I know. You picked a great class, Gary. We'll just see how it goes. Yes. And then if you want, when you get to one side, you can sweep your arm up, open your heart, kind of lean on your shins, and then try the other side. You don't have to do that if it's not feeling good on your knees or your hips. Good. And then when you're evened out, come back with your feet flat and then just press your heels down. Your feet are flexed. You guys can see me. And just bring your right hand to the side, your left hand to your right foot. Think, draw the sternum back. Press, just get that shoulder stretch all the way up and down the side of your body. Oh, so good. And then switch. Stretch it out. Just notice where you're tight. Couple breaths. And then bring the feet flat again. Bring your hands behind your knees. Sit up nice and tall and lean back for boat pose. You can let go if you want to. You can stretch your knees straight. Lift your heart. One more breath. And come on back down. Now stretch your legs straight. And if you need to inner spiral, you can. And just take a moment to sit up tall. Press the heels down, maybe stretch out the hamstrings a bit. And then just bend your right knee and bring the ankle across the thigh. And just notice that for a moment. You can even help yourself sit up tall. If you keep this foot flexed and active, like there's a wall that you're pressing into, it helps. And the same way with your extended leg. And then pick that foot and knee up. Bring it across if it'll go. You don't have to. You can bring it here or you can stack knee on top of knee. Just notice that. You'll feel it in your right hip, right? And then if you want more stretch, if it feels good, you can stretch forward. If it's feeling a lot of stretch already, you don't have to. If you are, think long spine, maybe chin over knee. This is called half Gomukhasana. And go ahead and come on up. Stretch that leg straight. Make sure it's good. Bend the opposite knee. And just, I mean, we all have our special sides. So you have to really be mindful. Just let it open up slowly. And then pick it up, bring it across if that feels good. If your foot is not grounded down, I would just stay in that first position. And then just make sure you're on both sits bones. And then maybe stretch. Then come on up. Bring the soles of your feet together. Support yourself. And maybe a little stretch here. If you're needing more, you can fold. And come on up. Bring your knees together and come to all fours. Take off my flare. And just start by moving in a big figure 8. And switch directions if you'd like. And then come back to just all fours position and start moving through some cow and cat. Making sure you're lengthening your spine in both directions. Good, and then pause with a flat back. Extend your right leg. And your left arm, if you're feeling stable, you can move your hand, wrist, warm up, and ankle. Good, and then maintain your stability, but start rounding your back and bring knee to elbow. And then extend them back out. And bring it down. And extend the left leg. Right arm, just notice drawing your low belly up, lengthening your spine, long back of neck. Move your wrist and ankle around, warm it up. And then very steady elbow to knee. Rounding. Pause for a moment. And then extend them back out. And bring them down, knee in hand, and take a child's pose. And then just walk your hands forward. You can even come up on fingertips, feel a stretch that way. Then bring your palms down again, but widen your hands right to the edges of your mat. Maybe even a couple fingers off, I don't know. And then pick up your right hand, reach it across to the left one. Maybe swing your hips to the right a little bit just to feel a stretch in your side body. And switch, so bring the right hand back, reach the left one over. Stretch your hips over to the left. Then unwind and come on up to all fours again. Your hands maybe slightly in front of your shoulders. We'll just do a little thread the needle. So think long spine, extend your right arm up and thread it underneath the left. Oh, twist it up, thread the needle. And then unwind and we'll do the other side. So left arm up, just feel it and then thread it underneath. And then come on back up. Bring your hands forward of your shoulders and come on up to down dog, thinking hips up and back. Weight spread evenly on the hands, on the feet, and just walk it out. And then one hand width at a time, walk back. Uttanasana. Just take a moment to feel that position today. So I'm always telling you to use a lot of muscle energy in the poses, which is good. You want to keep a stability with muscle energy. Then what could you do after that, after you feel stable, so that maybe you can hold a pose? Moderation in the muscle energy so that it's sustainable. And inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. And inhale. Sweep all the way up to Tadasana. Stretch your arms up. And bring hands to heart center. And down. I wanted to have everyone find a little wall space. If you're at home, I should have mentioned it before, your plan. And you're just going to stand facing the wall with your hands on the wall. I'm going to watch you guys. And then bend your knees slightly and bring ankle over thigh. So let's do right leg first. And then once you have that, you can play with stability. Think hips stay even and square. And maybe you can let go of the wall. Don't have to. Think low belly up, sits bones back, falling over. And then come on up. Ooh, good job. Switch sides. This way. So bend knees a little bit first. And then once you get the ankle in a spot that feels good, square up the hips. Think of your core helping you here. Maybe let go. And come on up. Does it feel okay? Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay, now you can keep holding onto the wall. If you need it, just want you to come to chair pose. And then pretend like you're really strong. See if you can squat down so your knees are coming wider. You might have to turn the toes out. Yeah. Malasana. And then really feeling strong, moving the hips back as you come up back to chair pose. How can it be sustainable for you? See if you can draw your low belly up, but keep your sits bones back. Come more upright with your torso. And then press into your feet and come back up. Good job. Come back to your mats and come to the front of your mats. And you want to use blocks, you can. You don't have to. I mean, use them. And with a big inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Pranam. And fold. Step your right foot back to a deep lunge. And just kind of notice you feel stable. Lower your back knee. Hug to the midline. So keep in thought with that. Keeping the muscle energy so you feel really stable, but make it sustainable. So stretch your arms up and just notice, do I feel stable? Maybe I need to keep my hands on the block or on the knee because I want you to hold it. Pretend like you're going to hold it for 10 minutes. What would you do to make the pose more sustainable? Good. Next breath. On the exhale, touch down. Slide your hips back if you need the blocks, you can. Use them. Flex the left foot. Draw the leg into the socket. Just check, do I have heels and sits bones kind of lined up here? Again, think, how can I make this sustainable? You find your breath. Stretch the toes. And maybe fold if that's a good stretch for you. And then bend back into the front knee. Touch the blocks. Bring the left block to the inside of the left foot and just walk your foot out. And then pause there. Think shoulders lined up, hips lined up. Press into the little toe side of the foot more. Maybe widen the knee to the left, but keep that inside edge of your foot active. If it doesn't go, it's okay. And then perhaps come down to your blocks with your elbows. If that feels like a good stretch to you, keeping the hips square. You want it to be sustainable. So yes, you want muscle energy so you feel stable. Then soften a bit once you feel things like, I don't know, like I always feel like my muscles relaxing a bit, using my Can you hear me, Susan? Very
Gotcha.
good. Okay. I don't know what happened there. Okay. Come, slide your hands by your chest. Uh, stretch your feet long. And then come up to Cobra. Thinking shoulders supported, front and back. How can I make this pose more sustainable? Maybe you don't lift as high. Couple breaths. And please lower down. And push back to all fours so you can find your blocks again and come on up to downward facing dog. And just breathe there for a moment. And then if you want to walk your feet up to your blocks, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Stretch your arms up. This is a good challenge for all of you to really see if you can hold a pose for 10 minutes. I know it. I think the whole internet screwed up a little bit. Good. And touch down. Slide your hips back, straighten your right leg. Just take your time setting up properly so you feel stable and sustainable. Maybe stretch your toes towards the floor. Maybe fold. Couple of breaths. And come forward. Pick up the right block, bring it to the inside, wiggle the right foot out. Hands on the floor or on the blocks. If you want to broaden your knee to the side and pick up the inner edge, you can. You want it sustainable though, so don't do it if it's not good for you. And keeping that nice long spine, everything squared up, maybe lower to your elbows. And then ask yourself, how can I make this more sustainable? Is this a good stretch or do I need to back off a bit? I need to focus in on my breath a little bit more. What are your habits here in yoga? Are they good habits? Or maybe not so good for your physical body. Good. Come on back up. Move the block back to the outside of your foot. Wiggle it back in. And step or lift your back knee, step back, downward facing dog. Extend your left leg or walk your feet forward. We're just going to do a forward fold up at the front. So step your left foot there, then your right. Find forward fold. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's keep going here. Inhale, stretch it up. Exhale, fold. Pranam. And fold. Step your right foot back again first. If you can find stability here, do that. We're coming up to crescent warrior, so just kind of pay attention as you come up. Maybe stretch your arms up. If it's more sustainable, if you lower your back knee, then just do that. One more breath. And on the exhale, touch the blocks. And you might have to move them to the higher height because you're going to move your hips up and back, keeping everything lined up, and straighten your left leg. Parsvottanasana. How can you make this pose more sustainable? I always have to really encourage my back leg to be just as active as the front leg. Maybe fold. That's in your wheelhouse. And then bend back into your front knee. This time step forward. And then switch left foot back. Find your stability. I always have to have my feet hip distance apart. My sits bones line up, and then slowly make your way. If you encourage that back leg to be very steady, it usually helps. Maybe extend your arms. Right hip crease stays back. One more breath. Oh my God. What else could go wrong today? Good. On this next breath, touch down, please. Lift your back heel, your hips up and back to straighten the right leg. Make sure everything's lined up. Hold over your leg. Don't hyperextend if your name's Nancy Verme. One more breath. Bend into your front knee. And then step back, downward facing dog. Set your blocks off to the side. You need to come down to your knees to do that. You just honor that. And then come forward to your sustainable plank again. Keep thinking long spine, long back of neck. Really protect the shoulders, broaden the clavicles, and lower down. Stretch your toes long, come up to cobra. Notice what are your habits in cobra. Don't scoop your tailbone. Just lengthen your spine, protect your shoulders. One more breath. And lower down. Push back to a little child's pose break. Maybe stack your hands under your forehead. And coming back up, grab your blocks if you're using them. Find a downward facing dog. And you can either walk forward or step just your right foot forward. And if you walked forward, step your left foot back, ground that foot down, and come on up to a warrior two. Just make sure you're using all parts of your feet and your arms. What makes this pose sustainable? For me, it's really making sure I'm using my back foot and leg as much as my front foot and leg. Make sure your kneecap and toes are pointing the same direction. Good. Now, bring your left hand to your hip and either elbow to knee or your block's right there. You can grab the block. Great. Bramacharya. Remember, your block has a higher height too, and you might need it. I'm going to have you come back to warrior two. And then this time, come to Parsvakonasana again, but bring your hand to the block. You remember, you can bring it to the higher height because I'm going to have you really push into that back foot and the front foot to move your hips up and back and straighten the right leg. Woo! Chikkanasana. How can you make this pose a little more sustainable? Good, one more breath. On the exhale, bend into the front knee, touch the left hand down and lift the heel. And step back. Down dog. Extend the left leg if you're doing it that way. And step it through. Ground the back foot down. Come up, warrior two. One side always feels different than the other. So just notice that. Could it be a habit or do you need to adjust because you have a special side? Good, right hand to the hip, either elbow to the knee or to the block or to the floor, you decide. And the arm if you want. Use both feet and legs to make it stable, and then make it more sustainable. Good. Come on back up, warrior two. Good, and then this time reach for the block if you can, put it on the highest height. Move your hips up and back to straighten the left leg. Trikonasana. Beautiful. One more breath. And bend the knee. Touch the hand down, turn the heel up. Step back, downward facing. Move your blocks to the side out of the way. One more. Vinyasa. And this time it'll be a quick one. So plank. Sustainable plank though. Lower down. Stretch the feet. Lift a cobra. And then down. And come on up to all fours. Keep your knees closer together and just move your hips back. And if you can come up sitting on your heels, do that. If not, just get in a place where it feels like a good stretch. And then come forward again and sit down. Feet out in front of you again, kind of wider than hips. Thank goodness, right? So I'm going to give you two options here. You can, let me show you how to set up. You just bring your right heel to the outside of your hip and then bring this across, stack knee on knee. This foot has to be grounded. The other option is just stretch the bottom leg straight and bring it across. See how it feels both ways. Good. This is called Gomukhasana. So just kind of wiggle around a little bit, see if you're really on both sits bones. If you're not, you might want to back off a little bit. Get super tall. If you're wanting more stretch, you just fold over your knees. You'll really feel it in your hips. I know. Some people this is really easy for, like Jeanette. And other people, it's really a tight mess. Gomukhasana, this is called, which means cow face pose. I think for me, I must make a cow face when I do it. Take a few breaths. See how you can make it a bit more sustainable. And then come on up, unwind. Well, I'll show you a fun way you can do this. If you're all crossed up, you can come up on your feet and then you walk all the way around, swivel your feet and come down to the other side. Or you can unwind. Yeah, there you go. It's kind of fun. Yes. Yeah, move your feet. Otherwise, just switch. And then notice different on this side too. but hopefully feels like we did a little hip opening. You want more, just see what happens if you stretch forward. And come on back up. Unwind this time. And go ahead and lay on your back. Yeah, this is nice, isn't it? This one's very sustainable for me. Good. Now bring your knees up and guide them towards your armpits and lift your feet up, elbows inside to either ankle or little toe side for a happy baby. And just think to yourself, okay, my feet can push into my hands. My hands are like a stopper. And just notice, maybe roll around a little bit. And then if you'd like, you can even lengthen your legs out. Come to this wide position, maybe rock back and forth here. Feel a big stretch on the inner thigh. And then come back to the regular position. If you're press into your hands one more time, just to really feel that spine lengthen. Then release your feet to the floor in that wider position. Bring your arms to cactus. And just do a few windshield wipers here to see if we made any progress on the hips. Excuse me. Just go as fast or as slow as you'd like. And then back up, pause there, bring your feet closer. Bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open. Maybe hands on your inner thighs. And then slowly close your knees. Bring your feet a little wider. Can you all grab a block? Bring it down by one of your hands. And just think, lift. Just Setu Bandha. And then to make this a little more sustainable, slide the block under your tailbone and set your sacrum and tailbone down on the block. Keep your heart lifted, back of your neck long, your chin lifted slightly, and relax into the block. This is pretty sustainable as well. And then press into your feet, lift your hips, slide the block out. And slowly lower down. And stretch your legs out. Shavasana. And get in a great position so that you feel supported by the floor. If it doesn't feel good to be on your back all the time, just soften your face. Your eyes rest in the sockets. Soften your upper back, shoulders, and arms, hands, fingers. Soften your upper back, middle back, low back, glutes, and your chest, belly, all of the muscles around your hips where your legs attach to the pelvis. Relax your legs, ankles, your feet, your arches, your toes. Think of your breath moving into the heart space, fanning the flame that's there. Habits are so difficult to break because we are doing what we already know how to do, and that makes us feel safe. In this way, our habits become automatic. The question is, does the automatic rule your life? In other words, are you doing what you know because it's comfortable or because you really want to? Taking new action can be uncomfortable, and that's why it is difficult. But it's a necessary step if you want to break free from the automatic. Awareness is the first step, because once you really know you're doing something that isn't good for you or isn't what you desire, then you are far more likely to take new action. It's from Don Miguel Ruiz's little book of wisdom. Now, notice your breath moving in and out. Really follow it. Notice the inhalation as it moves clear down, expands your diaphragm. And as it moves back out. And then start to move little ways. Just taking your time. Drawing the knees in when you're ready. Rolling to your side and resting there for a moment. And please push on up to seated. The heart center. Thank you all for putting up with the internet issues and for being here and there. I bow to the beautiful light that emanates from each of you. Namaste. Thanks, Carol. Thanks you guys at home for sticking with all the stuff.
Thanks, Lisa.
Lisa.